gosh, that was so dramatic. That's the first countdown. I finally saw that little feature off in the side there, and I was like, let me hit that. I didn't realize it was going to be so dramatic. Hey! Welcome to this edition of At the Mic. I'm your host, Keith Malinak, a Friday live stream with two, perhaps three special guests joining me today. I apologize for being absent last week. I was battling a kidney stone. And in fact, what I'm doing now is so many great recommendations. I really appreciate all of y'all, your prayers and your kind words on Twitter. But one of you suggested kidney wood, which sounds really gross. But I am now drinking tea made with kidney wood. It actually tastes very good. So anyway, I'm sorry I missed last week. We'll get those guests rescheduled and have some fun in the near future. Yesterday, if you missed it, please take the opportunity to go to youtube.com/atthemicwithkeith. Perhaps you're already there right now watching this, thinking I'm an idiot for even bringing it up. But if you're watching on X, it's easier to go over to YouTube and find our conversation yesterday. Zay and I, it was the inaugural episode of At the Mic Deep Dive. We'll be doing that every Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern. So the Friday live stream, 2 p.m. Eastern, every Friday, where we just hang out, have a good time. And on Thursdays, we're going to, focus in on one topic, which next week we will be discussing the central bank digital currency, CBDC, and why that's important, all the stuff you need to know there. And I think that's all the housekeeping I have here. I guess that's it. Wow, that was quick today. We'll join you next week. Let me see, who's my guest next week? My gosh, shame on me. And by the way, the reason there's a glare on Big Al is because what you can't see off to the left here is a desk that is sideways, and everything that was on this desk is now been displaced on the floor, almost like an earthquake, because as soon as we're done with today's live stream, this is the last time I'm going to be sitting in front of the Keith's Brain throw-up wall. I'm moving. It's too hot in this corner. I have complained about it enough, and I'm actually moving now that summer is here. To the other end of this room. Oh, look at that. Just in time for Jason to get up and leave. I bring you guys on. I'm sorry.
You did that on purpose.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to see your butt. So anyway, Jason Buttrill and Stu Burguiere. I'm sorry, Steve. Anyway, Stu Burguiere joining me, my co-workers at The Blaze. Gentlemen, thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Is he in deep thought? What's happening here with Stu?
I can't tell.
Does he know we're on? Can he see us? I don't know that. I feel like we lost him.
Giving me some Joe Biden vibes, big time. He's going to try and sit down here in a second in an invisible chair.
Hold on a second. Let me take him off the screen here. He now can't hear or see us, he says. Okay. Well, now I got to move this stack of crap here. Let me type him back here. Log out and back in. See, let's see what happens. Yeah, he's going to try to rejoin. Okay, weird. All right. Well, everything was fine. We've been chatting it up off air for half an hour, and then all of a sudden, it's showtime. Anyway, let's see here. I'm going to wait for him to get back in. How are you doing today, Jason?
Doing good. I'm actually stuck in my house all day today because
really,
they're repaving the streets in my entire neighborhood, and so it's crazy. They sent me this this map that let me try to show you. It's
I just did that.
It's color coded. So it's those are the different days where they're going to shut your street down. So today is the day we can't get any car out of our driveway. It's so annoying.
See, they told us ahead of time to park around the corner. And so we had to walk, about eighth of a mile or whatever to park. But man, that sucks for you, I guess. Back to lockdown mode.
Kind of what it feels like.
So Stu, you can now hear and see us?
Yes, both. Can you hear and see me?
All right. Yes, you're perfect. Yes. Jason, are you researching as a chief researcher for One Glenn Beck? Anything specific we need to know about on the horizon that you can divulge, or is that all top secret?
Glenn's coming back. Well, he's back on air next week, and we're going to do his Wednesday show from his ranch, which is going to be
wow.
So he's got a full setup there, but he doesn't have a chalkboard there, which is an issue.
Oh no, that won't stand.
Right. Well, it's not standing next week, so we're gonna I'm gonna Vanna White a chalkboard while Glenn goes through it. So we're gonna constantly cut back to the studio in Texas. So it should be interesting.
What dress are you wearing?
Can I borrow the ones that you usually wear, or are those?
I don't know if they're gonna fit. Might be a little bit,
That sounds like a technical nightmare coming up here. If you're going to be back and forth like that. I hope it works out. Stu won't be stressed out at all while they're cutting back and forth from the ranch to the studio.
Oh,
right?
it's the TV show. I don't care what happens at all. I used to have to care about such things. I do not have to care anymore.
Yes.
So.
My bad. Stu, what's coming up on the show next week for you, Stu Does America?
It's a great question, and I will definitely be looking into that. Come up next. I think we have Josh Hammer on one day. I think that one's in. Actually, we were going to talk to having Jason on potentially on Wednesday. I don't know if you've heard about that yet, Jason.
I have not heard about that.
We were talking about potentially this a preview of the chalkboard. We usually have Glenn on to preview the show, but I was like, since Jason's the one doing the chalkboard, we should have Jason on. So that might be coming up in your future if you're available.
It works. It's what's insane, like a quick little preview to the preview of Stu's preview, then to the Glenn show. But we're working with some of the researchers that helped Glenn out with his Great Reset books, and there's some nutty stuff that's happening. One of the things has already happened. The other thing from another global institution's about to happen in September with a ridiculous vote that could, I don't know, it could, I'll just say it could bring forth a new world order. It very well could be. It's all out there in the open, but we have the documents. And but yeah, there's those three major things that are happening. They're pushing it through this year. Why are they just deciding 2024 is the year they're going to push this through? And I think it's pretty obvious. The World Economic Forum has called this the global election year because 50% of the global population are going to the polls in countries all over the world. So the people that want to make a power grab, they got to do it right now. And
I'm looking forward to that. Okay, very cool. By the way, if someone watching right now would like to really get to know you gentlemen, I interviewed you a couple of years ago separately. Jason was at the mic episode 24. So just go to the playlist on the YouTube channel and look for all the conversations. He's episode 24. Stu had so much to say. Man's lived a life. And so it was a two-parter. Episodes 8 and 9. You recall that? But that was a long chat. That was a fun talk too. I mean, Jason, yours was fun too. It just wasn't as long. So we were able
not 2 episodes worth, not that interesting.
Right. And by the way, Jeff Fisher might be joining us here. I don't know. We'll see. He's so busy. What do you mean? Stu does not care for that? Okay, I don't know.
Oh,
all right.
I didn't know you could see me. I'm sorry.
You can't actually smell through the internet, but you might if Jeffy enters this lobby. I'm not sure.
That's the thing. We need to. I was talking to him earlier. He's like, I might try to tune in, but I'm not going to be able to join you. But if I hear you reading a story, getting your facts wrong, then I'll jump on there if I can. So we'll see. We'll see if this is him. Let me see if this is him texting me right now. It is not.
Jeffy, known for his factual reporting.
That's how I know him. Yeah, right.
Fact checker, Jeff Fisher. Okay, so I don't know what it is, but it's kind of become a thing where people are just sending me lightning videos. I don't know. We've been playing lightning videos here on the Friday live stream. And so here's another one. Perhaps you've seen this already. Lightning struck a golf course, a green on a golf course. And I just think it's really cool. Look at this.
A lightning strike here.
That's insane.
Look at that. It's so cool.
And this is what happens.
It looks like the green took a picture of it. That's nuts.
Yeah.
The brain neuron.
I'm going to be really helpful on these videos because I cannot see or hear any of them. So.
What?
Wow. Look at that lightning.
Look at that. Well, the impression of the lightning. Why don't you, maybe you should back out again and then come right back and maybe third time's a charm. What do you think? You try that again? Because I don't want you to miss these awesome videos. There's some good stuff in the queue. You can't miss animal videos, Stu. So
Stu, what you're missing is it looks like 2 perfectly photographed boobs. That's what it looks like. That's what you're missing out on right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me log right back in. That's very important.
Come back. Yeah. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be like, play that video of the lightning again. I want to see it. I missed it. Okay, so one of the things that Pat and Stu used to do when they had the old Pat and Stu show is they used to do a James K. Polk Tuesday, right? And I think what's kind of happened here is, hold on a second. Do you see this video here of the boobs?
Last night.
See it? No. Did you see that? You didn't see it?
Nothing.
It's so weird. Okay. Well, I don't know, man. That hurts. I hate it. I hate it for you.
For all the videos and stuff, I'll just describe for you.
You'll just describe. Yeah, it'll be like you're blind and stuff. It'll be fun.
Yeah, that's how I would describe fun.
So I think one of the things we started doing here is a Calvin Coolidge fun fact. You know, I have an obsession for Cal, and he still is eligible for another term. If we want to try to resuscitate him, just throwing it out there. Mm-hmm. So anyway, did you guys realize that his dad swore him in the oath of office because his dad was a notary public? Isn't that kind of fun? I think it's kind of fun.
I mean, I don't know that I would classify that as fun. That I don't think
your president was sworn in by his dad.
I mean, I just feel like anything when you mention the term notary public is not fun. Like, I think that's pretty cool.
That's a good point.
So hold on a second. Let's say, because it's so weird. Whenever I've needed a notary public in my life, it's always, oh, isn't so-and-so? Oh, yeah, I think it's down here in the hall, whatever. My question is, oh, hang on a second. Hang on. Crow of Judas. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. How do you become a notary public? In other words, all right, I decided I want to be the person with the power of the stamp, you know, the seal. Where do I go? To the post? Who do I talk to? What is this?
I mean, are we actually broadcasting? Is this some sort of joke? Like,
what?
Is this a real show? Are we doing a show about how to be a notary public on a Friday afternoon?
Absolutely, we are. That's why we do this on a Friday afternoon. Welcome to the party, pal. We just we're not going to have conversations about. I mean, you can talk about the Middle East. How do you want to solve the Middle East? Do you want to talk about Israel?
I want to airdrop in notary publics all over the Middle East. That would solve the issue.
Yeah. I'm not sure how you become one, but it's kind of weird how most people know a guy that knows a notary public, and usually they're like a seamstress, but on the side they're also a notary public.
So it's like a gang. Odd. It's almost like a club. It's like a mafia. I don't think you got what it takes to be. Hey, there's gonna be Stu. Here's something you might care about.
Okay.
We've got a new flavor of M&Ms coming to stores this fall. Want to guess what flavor that is?
Glue.
It's pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice. Okay. Well, maybe close for some people. I don't know. I feel like the pumpkin spice thing gets a bad rap in some ways because, like, you know, it's like this. Every white girl on Instagram is posting the pictures of her doing something related to pumpkin spice, but like I don't know, I think it's a solid fall flavor. I'm fine with it. I embrace the pumpkin spice thing, and honestly, M&M's pumpkin spice, I'd give it a whirl. I'm in.
Okay.
I think it's way overdone at this point. I think especially because my wife is one of those chicks. Everything during like what is it like November, December is when it comes out. We'll have like 700 K-cups, all pumpkin spice, no other option.
The house smells like pumpkin spice from October 1 to what? December 24? Is that
right? Yeah, she's like, oh, look at this Windex I just got. It's pumpkin spice flavor. I'm like, why would we need flavored Windex?
I'm also interested to ask you why you went when you came to pumpkin spice. You went to November and December, which yes, there's some pumpkin affiliation with those months, but October is the one kind of associated with pumpkins generally.
It is, but we drink it at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
We get pumpkin pie. Not right? I mean, I feel like it's still part of it, but like you carve up pumpkins
like
one
I'll
particular
die
month.
on this pumpkin spice hill, so help me. Look, I understand you want to talk about notary publics, but we're getting to the nitty gritty with the pumpkin spice crap. By the way, Brandy, thanks for the information. I'll keep that in mind if I ever want to venture into the deep waters of being a notary public.
But Brandy just brought up the most interesting comment possible about notary publics. I went to the Texas Secretary of State and applied. That's like the most interesting thing you can say about a notary public.
There's no test. It's just you just apply and pay a fee.
Do you just swear or something?
All you're doing, right?
Ceremony?
Is stamping thing. I mean, how much education do you believe you need for this?
I mean, it's basically just you're a authorized witness.
Yeah,
pretty much.
That's pretty much it.
It's weird. I mean, I have spent so much time in my life running around trying to find a notary to sign stuff. It's so aggravating. What are we doing? I don't understand this society at all. So Jeffy, let's see if we can bait him. I've got a few stories here that if he's watching, he might want to jump in here because he's seeming like they're right in his wheelhouse. Because I don't know if you heard this.
Jeffy on? I've never heard anyone describe something like that. But you want Jeffy to be part of something. You want him to be involved. Like you would invite him to a party or
right. That's a fair point.
Okay.
He's been such a large part of this show in the past that I just thought, you know,
you don't having him large. That's not. I mean, what? That was unnecessary. That was a shot.
And no fat shaming, right? Hey, by the way, I don't know about Jason, but I know Stu's a baseball fan. I was talking with a buddy of mine who is either going to or just did go to the Rangers had a World Series ring replica night, and so it occurred to me, oh my gosh, that's right. I forgot, you know, the Braves won the World Series in 2021. They had the replica ring nights in Atlanta. And of course, I don't live in Atlanta. And so I thought in the back of my mind, you know, one day I'm going to look on eBay. And so my conversation with him reminded me, I never did go and buy one. So I went to the old eBay. And sure enough, I got my replica Braves World Series ring. Cool. Huh? That's fun. I love that. I don't have a lot of championships in my sports world to celebrate. So
that's great.
It just arrived in the mail, and I have
the guy that sits next to me at the studio. You guys know Matt. He went, and I guess for the first like 15,000 people or something like that, they just gave a free one away. So he's got right now. He got it a couple days ago or whatever, and it's quality. It's nice.
Yeah.
Surprised me.
Yeah, I was trying to figure this out because I do know the Braves one, the real one, opens up, and there's it's got the baseball field's truest part is inside it, and it has the little stadium lights and everything. This one here, I haven't figured out if this opens. I haven't figured out how to open it, but it's like now I'm kind of sad because I don't have that fun little part of it.
Stu, I gotta say, Stu's producer right now is marveling over my man cave right now.
Yeah.
Talk to us about what's going on back there. Talk to us. What's happening?
Very cluttered environments.
It's very cluttered because this is where I watch all my sports and stuff. So I throw a lot of crap at random. But yeah, we've got.
As a Cowboys fan, I always assume that's how it goes.
This is you recognize that Lone Ranger. This over here is a video game. I think that's.
I can't really see detail. I thought that was Steve Carell from The Office. That's what I
was. Holding a gun.
I can't see the gun. It's just like, is he wearing a belt? I couldn't quite see it.
It's good stuff right there.
Yeah. We have a listener, by the way, who was a radio show listener who right after, I think it was 2018, sent me a replica Eagles Super Bowl ring.
Oh,
which was, it was really cool. It was a Darren Sproles replica ring.
Okay.
I was like,
probably not worth much.
Super heavy and
yeah. The replica rings now are.
Did they have jewelry last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl? Was that something that was?
I mean, they did, and there was like you need like 6 fingers, to put them all on. How many?
I'm not going to win this argument long term, but until you guys win another one, at least I've got the one thing.
Yeah, I don't have any of those to celebrate. So
no, you guys were up 28-3. I didn't watch it to the end, but what do we know what happened in that game?
Yeah, I don't remember either.
God, that's still. I will still. That was
soon.
One of the most frustrating Super. I mean, no, Keith was times 1,000 on this, but watching that game, my passion for it came not from love of the Falcons, but hatred for Tom Brady and the Patriots, and that was one of the most infuriating experiences of my life. I will say.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's why when you see the 49ers struggle, you think, oh, Kyle Shanahan blew another one. I mean, I think he's blown 3 Super Bowls now that he's had the lead in, either as a coordinator or head coach that he's lost. So common denominator is Kyle. Okay, so let's see if we can get Jeffy to jump in here because I got a story about a remote tribe in Brazil that has become bitterly divided, gentlemen, 9 months after gaining access to satellite internet via Elon Musk's Starlink service. The 2,000-member Marubo tribe, who live along the Atayu River deep in the Amazon rainforest, were connected to the World Wide Web last September after 20 antennas were donated to them by American entrepreneur Allison Renault. Starlink, which works by connecting the antennas, satellites delivers super fast internet to far-flung corners of the planet and has been billed as game changer by Musk. But the internet is already posing problems for the tribe. Many youngsters are now hooked on social media and pornography. Jeffy, has he dialed in yet? No. Okay. Let's see. To the alarm of elders. When it arrived, everyone was happy, he said. The 73-year-old said, but now things have gotten worse. They've gotten lazy, he says. Oh, excuse me. Shame on me. I'm sorry. I didn't realize the name. Tasanam Marobo. My bad. They're learning the ways of the white people. Oh, excuse me. Racist much. So anyway, Jeffy's not on the line yet. I thought he might jump in on a story about internet porn.
That is a fascinating story. It kind of shows like humans are just base humans, no matter where you come from. Like at the end of the day, if there's porn available, people are going to get addicted to it. And social media seems to be basically worse than porn for people. So I'm not exactly shocked on this one.
This makes total sense to me. We always joked about this when I was in the Marine Corps. You like every time you deploy and you're like sitting in a foxhole or, like whatever, like you're going to be gone for months or years. You have no food, no nothing. And you're just miserable sitting in this foxhole. The two things you talk about, chicks and food. There's no other room for discussion. That's all you talk about. Like immediately, like you've been there for a couple of days. You get in the hole. You're sitting there for like 10 minutes, not saying anything, trying to wake up, whatever. And immediately they're like, "So did you see that chick? Whatever." And she was working at the Hooters and blah blah blah. And that actually Hooters is the perfect blend for that conversation because you got both. Covered all at once. Chicks and
one-stop shop.
Jason, how much time did you guys, when you're in the foxhole, spend talking about notary publics?
I feel like Stu's bitter. There's something happened to Stu with him and a notary public at some point in his life.
It's a long time ago. I mean, I have forgiven him now.
Okay. So Jeffy's still not on the line. Okay. Well, how about this? A woman in Maryland, she won $2 million playing a scratch-off game. I didn't realize there were $30 scratch-off tickets. $30. So I don't know how many. See, these stories never say like the ROI. Like how much have they pumped into these machines?
There's people that do that like for a living. Like they do that as a job. Like they break down the numbers. There's one guy that's won the Powerball like 3 times or something like that, which is absolutely nuts.
Something fishy there.
It's either fishy or there's a hack to the system. I'm not sure what it is, but
there's been a couple documentaries about that. The people that were going back and forth from state to state, they had figured out like some way. I can't remember I watched a documentary on this. It was an older couple and they had not hacked, but just like looked at the math and realized that the rules, like in a certain, it was like a certain combination of numbers came up with a prize that was too big for the odds. So they just started borrowing and dumping money into lottery tickets every time it would hit a certain amount. And they made millions of dollars off of this. It was all totally legal. They just actually read the rules and figured out the math. And why don't things like that happen to me? I don't understand.
I need this documentary.
What's that movie with Val Kilmer way back in the day, like late 80s, where he's like
Real Genius?
Real Genius, yeah. The dude that lived in the closet.
How many quotes do you need from that movie right now?
Oh my gosh. I could probably keep up with you, I think. I used to watch it. We watched the same movies as kids. That's insane.
Weird, yeah. I've watched that probably hundreds of times. Like that was a movie we would just watch all the day because he's like has the perfect comeback in every situation in that movie. So Val was the man back then.
Yeah. Have you guys seen the recent documentary? I think it's called Val.
No, I thought you meant the documentary Top Gun Maverick. I did see that.
That's a great documentary. Yeah. But this one is, he obviously can barely talk, but it's narrated mostly by his son. But what he found is, this is insane. He found like all of his videotapes that he took of his entire life. But he just started chronicling from like when he was like 14 or something like that, everything that happened in his life. So you're seeing all these old home movies. He had a camcorder in his trailer and on set of Top Gun. And he was talking about how they like ended up clicking up, how they clicked up in the movie. So like Iceman and who was it? The guys that were with him, they would hang out on set. Tom Cruise and his guys, they would kind of go off, and there was this big rivalry. It's like really interesting. It's sad, but I mean, it's really interesting.
Where was that? Is that a Netflix situation or what is that? I'd watch that.
Maybe Apple Plus or something like it's either Apple Plus, Netflix, or Prime. Either one.
Wait a second. I know someone who got 5 out of 6 numbers right in the mid 90s with just the Georgia lottery. Queen Bee says she got 5 out of 6 numbers, won $1,000.
I didn't think fair.
Yeah, no, it was. I think the winning total for 5 out of 6 numbers of Georgia lottery, 15 years after this here was 13,000, 12,000, something like that. So, okay.
Sounds like a Hunter Biden tax scam situation going on. Like she's saying it's 1,000, but really it was like 13,000. She reported the one. Did you guys see that, by the way? That Hunter Biden art story. Did you guys read that at all?
There's a new one.
Tell me.
It's fascinating. It was very lengthy, and it's written basically from the tone of Hunter Biden just wanted his art to be his one place of solace as he recovered, and now the right has taken it away from him. So that was kind of the tone of it, but they had a couple interesting details in that he wasn't actually selling paintings for $500,000. The most expensive one he sold was $85,000, which they said was rare for a novice artist, which I would agree with. Very rare. That not typical of the experience of a novice artist to sell paintings for $85,000. But they said he sold $1.5 million worth of art. And then they just kind of separate in the same article reported that he said on his tax forms he made $130,000 in revenue from his art. Now, I'm sure there's some sort of commission, right, that comes off the top of at a gallery. I don't know how this works. I have no talent in this field. I was hoping Glenn would be around because he actually has done this stuff, right? But like they take some percentage. I don't know, was it 10, 20%? It can't be over 90% of his revenue, right? Like they can't be taking 90% of this money. And then, so I think we may have another tax scandal with Hunter Biden if this reporting is accurate. And then there's another great part of it, which talked about how the number one buyer of the art was this guy, is it Kevin Morris, who's the same attorney that's lent him $6.5 million. So he lent him $6.5 million and bought $875,000 worth of his paintings separately somehow.
What is he getting from this relationship?
Like, what is this relationship? Like, what is person A doing for person B? I have 2 guesses, and neither one of them are good.
I have no guesses. I think at this point, I think it would be easier to track down, like anytime the Biden family did something in business that was above the level and accurate, like legal. I think it would be easier to track that down.
Right
now, it's just like
if Biden loses in November, I don't want them to let this going after this family and all of their crimes. But have you ever thought that, Stu, maybe it's really difficult to find a really quality notary public, and perhaps Hunter found one and he doesn't want to let him go?
Okay.
Have you ever?
It's got to be related to notary publics in some way.
Sure. So I want you to see this comment from Toby McAvoy, who lives in Las Vegas. I never thought of this. There's no state lottery in the state of Nevada. We have to go over to California, Arizona. I mean, that makes total sense, though, when you think about it. It's like Nevada wants to go to Vegas and spend your money there, man.
It's so true. I was in Vegas. What was it? I guess late last year, and so I have a group of friends that there's a big football game going on. Like it's a Monday night game that we're all going to be watching. We'll do like a group FanDuel league, like a one game thing. We'll all just kind of jump in there and go like, whatever, 5 people, 6 people jump in. And I was in Vegas and I went in to join it and I couldn't because apparently daily fantasy is illegal in Nevada, where you can literally make a bet while having sex with a hooker. You cannot join your friend's daily fantasy league.
That is so funny. I mean,
gambling laws are so ridiculous. We still can't use those apps in Texas.
I know.
Yeah, hell.
Well, the daily fantasy ones you can.
Not like FanDuel and stuff like that, can you?
You can. I think you can do FanDuel. I know you can do Prize Picks, for example, and Prize Picks is a lot of fun if you haven't done that. That's a fun.
You're gonna send this to us, right? so we can put it in the description what you're talking about.
Yeah, please.
I'm not familiar with this at all. I was with Jason on this. I didn't think that. What'd you say? Give that again.
I think it's prizepicks.com/Stu. That one is actually a sponsor of the show,
so we get like a discount, or you get okay.
So I don't know if you played that one at all, but basically they'll be like, Luka Doncic 35 points over under, and you have to pick like over
or under
on multiple people, and you can make up to like 100 times your money if you do the max. Like I think you have to hit like 6 out of 6 or something, and you get 100 times your money. I've done really well with it. Like I keep hitting them, and they have all sorts of promos going on all the time. It's pretty great. It's a lot of fun. And that for some reason that one is okay here, and like they won't let you do half the others. I don't know. I'm embarrassed for Texas. It's like
I know.
Are we supposed to be like a state of liberty here? Like where you can go? No, apparently not.
It's funny you say that because one time our esteemed attorney general showed up at our studio for, an in-studio interview, and I was walking alongside him. I was like, okay, so when are we going to get the old, the gambling apps back? And because he was the one that was spearheading that to make it stop, and he's like, I just enforced the law. And I'm like,
that's what he told me too. Same thing. Paxton. Yeah.
You know what? Impeach him.
Okay. So Texas has
Paxton. I think the law should change.
I know. I'm with you exactly.
Texas has a lot of those like archaic laws from way back in the day. Like I think there are still dry counties here in Texas.
Yeah, we are free-ish here.
It was hilarious. The town I grew up in, you couldn't have porn shops or you couldn't have liquor stores in the town. So you'd go out, you'd drive out like just at the city limit, and basically every single 4 corner of the city would look the same. You get out there, 2 inches past the sign, there'd be like 30 liquor stores, strip clubs, porn shops, all that crap. So it ends up the end result is it like kind of makes your town crappier because they all just kind of congregate in one area, one seedy area.
I'm a big fan of that man cave back there. I'm sorry, I can't stop thinking, man, I want one of those.
My spot,
Can I come over and watch the Stanley Cup tomorrow night?
Come on over.
Just invite myself over.
Oh, that's hockey?
Yeah.
I mean,
the Oilers are playing. You got to root for Oiler girl.
Oh,
I can.
Got like all sorts of furniture store. What is like? If you were to sit and watch a game, would you sit in that chair behind you? Is that the chair?
Yeah, that's where I want to sit, right there.
This is like a big like horseshoe couch right there. That is for like overflow for other people to come and watch.
That way, like over your left shoulder, is a TV
that way?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're only seeing the back. So your man cave, what you're showing us of the man cave is just the storage area of the man cave.
Yeah. Okay. This is where like let's say for instance, if I'm watching a Cowboy game and there happens to be, I don't know, some Eagles or Falcons fans, they go right there.
Oh no.
That's where they go.
Hold on a second. Hold on. What if the Falcons are playing the Eagles? Then I get to sit in the front row. Yes.
I'm being kind of generous mentioning the Falcons because I can't remember a time that they were relevant. So
I mean, when's the last time they played a primetime game? Like 2007?
They've got several this year, and in fact, the first weekday of our Christmas vacation, they play Monday Night Football. I believe it is Monday night. Anyway, in Vegas against the Raiders. So
don't the Eagles play the Falcons this year?
I think
they do.
I think the NFC East. Everybody.
I remember Keith and I went out to. It was the first game of the season. I think it was a Monday night game, and we got together. Went to it was a pizza place. I think.
Hold on. Start that story sooner because remember we were supposed to watch it at my place, and the streaming was not having a good night. Remember that? And then we had to go to the pizza place.
Yes, we had to actually leave. Keith invited me over. That's right. Keith invited me over, and his TV didn't work. That's basically the long and short of it. And then so we left there and we went to like a pizza place or something, and we were watching it, and it was it the first game of the Eagles Super Bowl season? Maybe it was right around. It was right around there, and it was I think it was because it was the last play of the game. Matt Ryan had a chance to win it. And threw it in the end zone. I think Julio Jones got 1 foot down, but not 2, and the game ended. Yeah. And then later on, they played in the playoffs that same year, and basically the exact same thing happened at the end of the game. It was like the Eagles won, and then went on to win the Super Bowl. I don't remember.
No, that's cool. To answer your question, week 2 on Monday Night Football, Falcons and Eagles.
I mean, do we have a reboot of a falsely streamed game into a pizza joint? I mean, do we?
Well,
try
we watched them play at a different bar one time, and that was fine. Remember that? Like you don't. The point is, you don't trust. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong, and it has on this live stream before. So don't trust the internet here. And in fact, I was just talking to the company this week about where am I connected here, and I'm in a internet desert where I am, and so
that's sad.
yeah, I was just looking here. This is really sad for football fans everywhere. Your Atlanta Falcons have 4 primetime games this year. Ain't nobody want that.
Well, people believing in the Kirk Cousins things, right? Kirk Cousins is going to make this off of an Achilles injury. Is going to be this big superstar,
and he's terrible in prime time.
There's like 3 high school teams that are in the division with, so they really should win the division.
I didn't know Cousins went to the Falcons. I didn't even hear that.
Oh yeah,
really?
He's not about
to lose a first-round pick because they couldn't wait to get him. Yeah. Then they went and drafted it's a story, Jason.
I was going to say, considering the way they draft, maybe losing their first-round picks isn't that big of a deal. You know?
Now we know why Arthur Blank said when the Falcons drafted a quarterback and already had one that they just signed. Now we know what he meant by, well, we're not going to have a top 10 pick for years to come. Yeah, that's because you're not going to have a first-round pick for years to come.
That's why I miss like Al Davis. Sorry to keep talking about NFL, but he was hilarious for blowing up those boards that they would, like, people like Mel Kiper would spend months building.
Yeah,
they just knew, like, had it down to a science, and pretty much it was always right until they got to the Raiders. Right, and the Raiders would pick someone projected.
Sebastian Janikowski in the first. Wait, what?
Yes, I missed that. That was so awesome. The league has become so like data based and smart, so these guys all look at everybody. Everyone looks at it the same way. Everyone's got the same analysis. There's not like the person who's like, you know what? That guy from that high school in Iowa, that's the guy I'm picking first. Like that fun stuff doesn't happen anymore. Yeah.
So I read this headline of this story here, and I want to see if y'all can finish this headline because I was clueless, and maybe this is common knowledge. But Cheers star George Wendt says he's very proud of his nephew and godson. Do you guys know who his nephew and godson is? Norm from Cheers. You know who his is?
Doesn't everyone?
I did see this. Yes, I feel like I do. I don't remember who it was.
Jason Sudeikis.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I had no idea. So it's just us? So Jason knew this, Stu. Okay.
I did not know it. I did see a story about it the other day, and I guess I shouldn't be shocked, right? And we get someone in Hollywood, they're gonna know maybe the path. But I mean, it's an interesting one. They're both pretty talented people.
Yes, they are. I am looking here. I'm a little sad here because I have some animal videos, and Stu can't even enjoy them with us unless he wants to, look on his phone real quick while I play this.
I could do that. Yeah,
I don't. You'll be a little delayed, but if you just go to at Keith Malinak on Twitter, it might be the easiest thing. Stu, it'll pop right up on the screen there. So okay, so let me give you some animal videos here. Just for the fun of it. There's no point to this, Stu. I don't want you to sit here and think that we're, waiting for some really dramatic reason. We just play them because we want to. Let's see if I can find it here. Okay, so this right here is a turtle chasing a cat. Thank you all for sending me these awesome videos, by the way. On a skateboard.
Cat just don't care.
Why did y'all give him this skateboard? So now let's sit and let's wait for Stu to react as he watches through at Keith Malinak on Twitter. What do you think of the turtle chasing the cat on the skateboard? Mr.
Well, by the
Stu.
time I tuned in, he had already finished chasing him, and it was just paused. So I don't know what happened.
The most amazing part is not that a turtle's on a skateboard; it's how dismissive the cat is.
Okay,
it's like no big deal.
I feel like the cat has experienced this before.
Yeah, just a turtle on a skateboard.
The cat's probably looking at the camera, just like, "Hey, do you have some food?" Not, "Can you believe this?" Because he's probably had to deal with this a lot.
I don't think it's chasing. I think they're just hanging out. I think like that's like, like I have 2 dogs, and like the younger dog likes to snuggle up with the other one when our bigger dog is like laying down already. I think that's all it was. I think he was like looking for like a little snuggle partner.
Snuggle partner. Let's see here. Okay, so this one isn't. This next video is not going to be cuddle time, not hangout time. This turtle's an a-hole right here, trying to attack this dog. Turtles are dumb. Look at this guy. This is a tortoise. Excuse me. This dog's just minding his own business. Look at this. He's coming over there. And he's like, hey. And he gets up on him. And he like biting at him. What an a-hole. Look at that. Now watch this. This is good. Dog gets last laugh. Stu, I'm ruining it for you. Dog gets last laugh on this. Oh, and then just walk away. Suck it, dude. Now let's wait for Stu to react.
He flipped him over. That's when I saw it.
That's good. See, all right. See, it's not too much of a delay.
No, not too bad. Not too bad. Watching on your YouTube page as we go, just a little bit delayed. But look, I'm slow anyway, so it's kind of basically how I would react probably if I was watching live.
All right. So we all agree that turtle was looking for trouble. That tortoise going after the dog. Okay, I don't know where beluga whales fit on the hierarchy of intelligent animals, but this one is starting stuff with a toddler, and my goodness, this right here is something else. Look at this forethought. Look at this. Scared the poor kid. And then he's staring at her. Look at that! What a jerk!
Yeah, you wanted to eat her. Are they aggressive?
I don't know what's going on there. But look at him come around the corner. Like, hey, what's up?
He wanted to take a bite. That's crazy.
That's not cool, dude. And then he just stares at him. I don't like that guy.
That's gangster, man. That beluga has like a neck tattoo, guaranteed.
Wait, does he have a neck?
I don't know. This stupid whale needs to realize that, like, you know what? After your little show there, that kid gets to go home and have a good life, and you live in a tank.
So
all right. Congratulations, stupid whale.
Okay, so when you guys get in the ocean, like when I was a kid, I didn't even think about anything beneath the ocean. I mean, I was special, I wasn't all there. But it's like now when I go to the ocean, like as an adult, I'm constantly thinking, all right, just don't hang out right here for too long. And then you see a video like this, I'm not afraid of getting in the ocean. Okay, let me make that clear. But it sure does cross my mind what's below me. And then you watch this right here, and you're like,
Ne bouge pas. Il est là. Ne bouge pas. Il est là. Panique pas.
Where are they?
Everybody's, I don't know, in the ocean. I think he's hanging off a boat or something. But it's like, I love how everybody starts laughing when the shark leaves. That's not funny. At no point is this funny.
There are people laughing. Dang.
I don't know. His reaction looks pretty fake here.
What? No way, man. I think he's terrified. What? Let me see this again.
Look at his face. I don't know. He doesn't like... Are we sure that's not like an AI shark?
Oh.
There's no movement in the water, and they don't show anything besides that. I think that it's in like in a controlled area.
That's what I think. I've got more videos coming up here where we can actually figure out if this is AI or not. So I'm glad you brought that up. Well, first of all, this looks real, right? I mean, you got a camel stuck in a car. This is real, right? Hold on, play. Oh, here we go.
That's freaking amazing.
That's real.
That's like a Middle Eastern version of Tommy Boy right there. Ahmed Boy, right there. Look at that. How do you even start to get into that position?
Right. I mean, bro, that was awesome. I mean,
that's pretty incredible.
I feel bad for him. I hope he got out, but man, you're dumb. Sorry.
That one's definitely. Although I walked out to the parking lot one day and I did see Jeffy in a similar position. So it's possible.
I think that's how we're gonna get him on here. I think we're just gonna have.
Are we sure that isn't Jeffy in a camel suit? I mean, because it looks strikingly similar.
Too small, Jason. Too small.
That's true. It's good.
So yeah, remember Jeffy sat on that camel once. I wonder if that's him. And he was just like, I have no idea where I'm going with this analogy. Okay, so let me see here. What else do I have for you, gentlemen? Here. So this. Okay, here's my question. Look at this video of a dog sitting like a human being, and tell me, is this real? Where's the video? Okay, watch this.
In his house when he noticed his dog sitting on the stairs like
That's
a human,
creepy.
and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Resting his hands on his knees, looking like it was a toddler inside of a costume, as his dog had no clue he was even watching him do this. Just chilling on the stairs, looking out the window. But once he went around to the front of the stairs to look at him, his dog heard him coming and put his paws down, acting like nothing happened.
I don't like it. I still don't like it. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I've seen some dogs do some weird crap on stairs. So I don't know. Like, I guess I can kind of buy it. It is weird, though, that he rested his
Look at him, dude.
legs on his knees.
It's like he's pondering life, looking out the window. He's like, man, it's been a long day out in the doghouse. I'm glad to be inside the AC right now. Take a load off. Oh, what's up, bro? I'm just chilling.
That's weird.
I don't like it. So, okay. So when I sent this to Rob Borowski, who helps out tremendously here with the YouTube stuff. And I had him pull these videos here for us, which I don't know if people don't realize that Rob pulls these videos for me. I send him stuff, he pulls them. So thank you so much, Rob Borowski. By the way, if you missed yesterday's Thursday live stream, Rob put together that D-Day thing at the start of that. So please go and look for that if you haven't seen it yet. But when I sent him this next video that you're about to see, I didn't notice this. He said this is fake. You can see the edit. And I agree there's an edit. But I think the edit is because the guy recording maybe dropped an F-bomb or something like that. I really think this poor girl that you are about to see stage dive or whatever it is here, I think she was not caught by the crowd. You tell me if this is edited. And why would you fake something like this? I don't understand. This is bad, y'all. I don't like it. Oh, okay. So there was an edit there, right? But that's just.
Can you play that again?
Yeah, watch it. You'll see it jump.
Yeah.
That's fake.
Is it? Okay, tell me why. Because before you do that, what I saw was the people like off to the side here. Like, don't pay attention to her. They all move, just slightly, almost like there's a frame missing. But I thought it was just cut out an F. It was an awkward way to bleep it. I don't know. But you're saying it's fake. Do I need to pause this or anything, or just let it play?
Well, why is the edit right at the point of impact?
All right.
Okay.
So it looked like they caught her, but then they edited it after they took her down. They let her down. That's what it looked like to me.
Oh, okay. All right. It's not Bill's Mafia gone bad then, huh? Okay.
That's what it looked like. It looks like they caught her. It was fine, but then they set her down, and then that's where the edit was.
All right. Yeah. All right. Yep. All right. Well, then see, I've just been duped left and right here today. My goodness. It sucks.
You just believe everything. You have to just not believe anything, and then you'll get everything right.
That's right. That's right here.
See,
okay.
What's funny is I used to not think like this. Like now I second guess everything. But once my boss started sending me the most insane stuff ever to fact check, then I started being critical of basically everything. So I mean, it's like Stu, you can probably back me up on this.
Totally. The other day we were playing a video, and it was a video of a promotional video for a new company that was doing head transplants. Did you guys see this? It was
yes.
And so we're playing it on the air, and I'm like, "There's no way this is real." This. I don't know. You could tell by the editing, the feel of the video. It didn't feel right. Like they kept repeating certain footage. It just didn't seem like professional. There's something about it that was just wrong. I said it on the air. I'm like, this can't be real. And so we go through the whole thing, and then of course the next day I find out that it's not real. It's some like, well, what if this were real? How would you react to it type of thing? Like there's so much of that stuff floating around right now, and it's going to get so much worse with AI.
Gosh.
We're definitely going to have this stuff, right? For the election. There was just some picture that went viral on the left over the past week or so that purported to show Donald Trump struggling with law enforcement officials after he was convicted. They were dragging him off to prison or something. And it was just an AI picture showing that. But, of course, it was shared, hundreds of thousands of times. One of these is just going to, wind up turning an election. And what happens if that's what do you do as a country if you have the wrong president as president because someone leaked, some AI video? I mean, it's like almost as crazy as if there was like a laptop that was actually real and the whole media called it false, 10 days before an election. I mean, imagine if something like that occurred.
My gosh, that you're absolutely right. It's going to get intense.
It's so easy to do. Have you guys looked on those seen how they do it? The one that everyone uses, you actually use Discord. So you go to the website, you sign up for an account or whatever, then it sends you to Discord, which is if everyone doesn't know, it's what a lot of gamers use it. It's just so you can talk to other people. So you go into Discord and you go into their one of their little channels within it, and you just type, I want a picture of Donald Trump struggling with law enforcement, blah, 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 outside a courthouse. And it thinks for a couple seconds, instantly does up a picture that looks almost perfect. And then if it's not exactly what you want, you keep talking to the AI and you say, oh, it doesn't look too great on this area. Can you clean that up? Or can you change his suit to be blue? Can you then do this? Takes 5 seconds, boom, and you just keep refining it until it's absolutely perfect. A child can do this.
It's legitimately incredible. I mean, there's the big story. There actually was the New York Times Daily podcast today, which was about how what they're dealing with now at schools is that teenage boys are taking photos of their classmates and then going on these services and basically turning them into fake nudes and sharing them all around the school. And I can't even imagine.
No,
at some point we just need to unplug the country. Take it off of life support. we're so
honestly, though, we've had this discussion. It's come up multiple times where we've talked about growing up today as opposed to when the three of us grew up, and the majority of those tuned in here grew up. And it's let's say you got picked on, you got bullied, you had a rough day, you got into a fight, anything, bad ride home on the bus. You get home from school, all right, I can exhale. At least I have until tomorrow morning to not stress about this. Now you've got social media. You've got deep fake stuff like you're talking about. I cannot imagine being a child growing up today. No wonder that the suicide rates are so high, and the depression rates, and so many kids are medicated. But Danny brings up that point there. I think, man, I'm all for freedom. But boy, this AI stuff is terrifying. Where do you guys see this thing ending up? Are we going to end up in a Skynet situation at some point?
The Pandora's box cannot be shut at this point because it's such a big geopolitical race to get to. So the government will never stop doing it. They'll never stop. And what's crazy is when you say Skynet, I really don't know because shoot, Glenn's been talking about this since how long? For a decade, I think, pretty much. But I remember there was a bunch of scientists that were saying, well, we cannot teach them to kill. We got to make sure they understand that, they're not supposed to hurt humans, blah, blah. So what do I do? Two weeks ago, I saw a story on how the Air Force had put AI into an F-35, and they had it dogfight with a real human in another F-35.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then the AI won. And I'm like, what happened to not teaching them to kill? What happened to that? And all you hear about now is how they're China's got drones, running off of AI. So do we. And this is not stopping. It's just going to get worse, scarier.
No. And the scary thing is because I know there was a push for a while. Even Elon Musk talks about this of we need to take a pause and really think about what we're doing. And I think that sounds great in theory, but who's not going to take a pause is the Chinese government.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, so what they need to do is they need a START treaty, or something like that. That's a global, set of rules. At least then, like, no one's going to follow them.
What is China doesn't listen to that crap, right? They sign the stuff and then they don't listen. They just do it anyway.
No treaty.
Agreed. But at least it's like Iran. Like, we know they continued to build nuclear weapons even after the nuclear deal. But at least there's like some kind of like enforcement mechanism where you can kind of make them feel pain. If maybe try and slow it down. I don't know, but this is just a snowball, and it's going to get bigger. And the other thing is you can't stop regular people because the way the tools are built. Who's to stop the next Steve Jobs from just doing this crap in his garage?
We got to that point.
Anyone can do this now.
Oh, we're to the drinking part of the show.
I don't like where this is going now.
Is that the
great? So like a certain amount of depression hits you, and then the alcohol.
Yeah,
is that how this works?
You got me. Yeah, no, this is imported polar bear Oski. I really like it. It's smooth. It's not the smoothest. The smoothest Jason Buttrill is made here in Texas. And it's like 1835 or 1809 or something. Anyway, okay. So we could go back to notary talk, Stu, but I heard you don't like that. So
no, I mean, I look. I mean, imagine what AI is going to do to notaries. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing we need to think about going forward. It's huge.
It's it flies under the radar.
It really does. No one will talk about it, and that tells you something. No, I think we are in for a hell of a lot going forward. And I think it's like similar. I always think about this with Google going back years, and that like we would get call after call after call on the radio, like Google, they're really bad. They're like looking at you. Remember this, Keith? Like people would call up and they would say they're watching you. They're reading your emails.
I was screening those calls.
Yeah, exactly. But at the end of the day, you know what works really well is Google Maps. Like at the end of the day, when I search for something in Gmail, it actually comes up, unlike Apple, which never, ever works. And these things like work really well. And you know what works really well and is getting better every day is AI. And I don't think you're going to be able to stop it. I don't think the best thing that can happen is some American company that has, like Elon Musk, for example, he's trying to do this basically. I think he's behind these other companies right now. But if he were to win this war, and have, the best AI, maybe there'd be the best chance of it being ethical if it was the one that worked the best. But there's too much of it. I don't think you're going to stop it. And you kind of come back to the idea of like every new technology over the past 100 years, everyone thought was going to ruin the world at some point. Hopefully we're just not seeing some path where this works out for the best. But honestly, it's tough to see.
There's these guys that they're obviously paid influencers on X, but they do these tweet threads just updating on like how powerful ChatGPT has become, and there's also competing influencers for the other AI chatbots. Yeah. But they do these tweet threads. They're supposed to be, I guess, like, wow, look how amazing this is. But to me, they're horrifying because they'll be like, these are the top things that ChatGPT and AI will render useless, and they go through about 50 jobs that will just already can no longer, that don't even need to exist because of how powerful it is now. And I'm this is only going to get worse. Like, think about in 10 years with it growing as exponentially as it is, how many jobs will be lost? 10 million, 20 million?
Seriously. And by the way, a lot of people in the chat have been asking here. So thank you so much, Ezra. Appreciate it. There's Matilda. She's going to hang out here and make everything better. So here we are. Hold on a second. Let's see. So, Sue's not at home. Never mind. What about, I hear you have a puppy, Jason. Do you want to, is your puppy hiding somewhere?
I just picked her up.
She's just there, right? Yeah.
That's why they mentioned it. Oh, yeah. That's why they mentioned it. I didn't see that.
Yeah. I thought you were responding to him.
No. Oh, boo. I want to see the puppy. Okay, so check this out. This is the biggest topic we're going to discuss all day outside of, notaries. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, Clem wants to know, will you please explain the rift between Stu and Jeffy? Why do they dislike each other? What's the deal? Talk to us, Stu. It sounds like it's serious now.
Just based on having good taste. He's just no, Jeffy is just a wonderful human being, and
someone's in that room with you, aren't they? Someone's got
it's just a joke. It's just a bunch of jokes, Keith.
I just wanted to point out that no one likes Jeffy. So why are you singling out Stu? That doesn't make any sense.
Oh no,
America feels the same way.
I don't think he's gonna join us in here today. That sucks. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm really torn up about it.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm so
some...
bad at making or following the comments here, so I'm sorry. But see.
Twice.
What were you saying, Jason?
So an inside story on Jeffy, which always cracks me up. But for the longest time, Jeffy and I would do this thing where when there was new people that would come in to the office, like we'd get a new hire, Jeffy would come in and just start like laying into me, like cussing me out, blah, blah. And I would cuss him back out, like right back at him. And then he would just storm off and I would storm off. And then we'd go off around the corner basically and look at the reaction from the person. They're horrified. Like it was usually like a young intern or like a girl
drag me into these
college.
Next time.
She's doing graphics and she's like, what did I just get hired into?
Yeah.
You've got to drag me into these next time. I would love to do that.
We did a bit, by the way. It's on my YouTube page, youtube.com/StuDoesAmerica. And it's a comedy segment about it's like a conspiracy show, unsolved mysteries type of thing about how it seems like Corinne Jean-Pierre has never worn the same outfit twice. Like all of her press conferences we went through, and she's worn the different outfits in every single one of her press conferences. Like, how is this possible? Where is she getting the money for this? I was fascinated by it. And we decided to cast Jeffy in the role of a YouTuber who believes, like a conspiracy theorist who believes he's found the one time that she has worn the same outfit. And so we bring him in and we have the whole set like lined up. He looks like basically like Jason's man cave. It's like a crazy person's background. And he comes on here and he just turns into this guy. And it's funny to go watch him because his hair's all crazy and messed up. And he's just ranting basically like he just turns into Alex Jones. And I just realized like this role is basically just him. Like we just given him the role of the crazy YouTube conspiracy theorist, and it's just him. It's just Jeffy being Jeffy. So anyway, if you get a second, go check it out.
So yeah, go to youtube.com/StuDoesAmerica. Are there playlists and stuff? Is it easy to?
Yeah, there's one that says comedy bits. The last one we did was fanny calls. You think you need a booty call. No, you need 1-900-FANNY calls.
Oh my gosh.
Fannie Willis will service you with all your sexual needs. So. Again, I don't know why we do it, but they're fun.
They're fun. Yeah, absolutely. I'm checking here. I forgot. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know that Jason and Stu have ever seen this, but this is the I guess you'd call it the professional setup. There's Velcro at the end of this baseball bat cup, and it's on the back of this old phone. And so I have this app here. If you want to call, the phone number is 208-563-1802. 208-563-1802. Feel free, and we'll try to get you on if you want to talk to Jason
for
and Stu.
So some more inside baseball on a Blaze employee. This one, Keith Malinak.
Oh, what's up?
He's got the craziest crap around every desk I think that he owns. So if you go into his radio studio, there is and sit behind his desk, you'll see the weirdest stuff, like cinder blocks. And
well, yeah. Well, when Steve Baker joins us here for the Friday live stream, he sits at my desk, and we constantly have him going through drawers. And there's a big box of junk off to the left there. Oh, absolutely! It's so many treasures there. So You're absolutely right.
The background of what you see when you see Keith right now is like the home edit version of his most wanted background. It's like the very streamlined IKEA version, like. Usually there's layers on top of layers on top of layers of trinkets behind him at any given moment.
Well, here's what happened though. Let me explain something here. Hang on a second. Hang on.
What are you drinking again? I missed. I heard you say it. What is it?
It's the Polar Bear vodka. It's just so yummy.
It's just a straight vodka. No mixers, nothing like that.
I just don't have ice with me, and that's the problem. I like it. Room temperature, not as good as with a Cuba ice. But in the Pat Gray cave, the Pat Cave, as Matt Kibbing has deemed it, they used to have these shelves on the wall there that Tim put up for me. Tim, designs all the sets and stuff, and so I could put all my stupid little hockey figures and silly helmets and all that stuff on these shelves So if you go back to old, not too old, so the really old Pat Gray Unleashed set where we were sitting at the desk against the wall there. Then when they separated us and put Pat over here and me over here, and then there was a time where I had a place for all my junk. But then Glenn came in one morning and he's like, we got to get those down, And he didn't tell me. He came in one morning, and then later that day, Tim said that Glenn said, got to get those down. And then I came back the next day, and they were already down. And so all my crap was on the desk there, and they've just never settled into a good spot ever since. So now they're just scattered throughout the room, really. So there you go.
This is how these things work. Like Glenn asks for something, and the next day it occurs. I had I haven't had a lock on my dressing room door in 4 years, and can't. Like, in fact, it doesn't, you can just walk right, it doesn't even close. You can't even close the door. I had to put tape on the little, I don't know what they call it. You turn the knob and the thing pushes in. I had to tape it open because it would lock every single time the door closed. So someone would just think they were helping and close the door, and then I get locked out and have to get them, someone to come in. So I had to just basically tape it so it's open. So every time I'm in there, I have to you don't know if someone's just going to walk in. It's not, but it's been 4 years. I'm like, can I just get a door that works?
This is good information to know.
Shelves one day.
Yes, it is.
I can't tell you how many times I've passed by Stu's dressing room, knowing that there's an amazing energy drink inside, because that's he's got the stash.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, if only I could get in there. I was desperate.
Now you can.
So Jason just made an interesting observation.
You might have to deal with a naked me inside. I don't think that bothers you. So
there's no energy drink worth that. So Jason made the observation that there is a cinder block or two around my desk. Okay. You never know when you might need that. No, actually, I use it as a footrest. But you know what you should do, Stu? And don't be taking mine. Go get you a cinder block. Keep it inside your dressing room. So when you're in there, you put it in front of the door. So if someone tries any funny business while you're in there, you see, it stops them, or at least slows them down.
Well, Keith, his desk is set up in the studio it's 4 stories high.
Yeah.
Why do you sit so high?
Oh, you're talking about the chair. The chair? Yeah, no, there's a reason for that. And I'm glad you asked that, because people have pointed that out, and I've told them individually, this is why I sit so high. And I hate the way it looks. When you do the wide angle and Pat's at a normal level and I'm jacked up to the ceiling, right? It's because this chair has 2 heights. Okay. It's either down on the floor or it's way up high. And if it's not at that highest level, then it sinks down to the bottom level. And when it's on the bottom level, my lower back kills when it's sitting down at the bottom. So it would be fine if I could just get it a little bit higher. That'd be fine. But unfortunately, it doesn't sit there. It's either way up or all the way down, and down hurts my lower back.
There's not a shortage of chairs.
Right.
No. Hold on. Time out. I have tried multiple chairs. And none of them are at least I know it's jacked up, but at least it's comfortable. All the other ones in that building, trust me, I've taken them from places I wasn't supposed to take them from. I have tried a half a dozen options in there, I promise you. And this is the only one that I'm very particular. I'm annoying to live with, trust me. Cheers. Anyway, there you go. Okay. So, Stu, I've had a story here. I should have had the pictures pulled from this, but I did not.
I wouldn't be able to see them anyway.
We'll see him anyway. Top 10 cities that didn't exist in 1960. I just found this fascinating. I'll have to send you this link if you're interested in it, because these cities are, these aren't little towns. This isn't, Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Right. These are, first of all, that was Doha, Qatar. Dubai. Let's see. No, that was Dubai. United Arab Emirates. And then Doha is here. See that? See, these are professional. This is you only get the best quality presentation on this podcast, Friday live stream. Let's go to Nigeria. I don't know.
Can I say on those 2 cities? I've been to both those cities before, wow. And they are the first. Doha was in when I was in the Marine Corps. Went then, so that was a while ago. But Dubai is a city that freaks me out because. I'm I don't want to say I'm libertarian. I don't know what the heck I am. I guess I'm libertarian light. So any kind of central planning, big government just scares the hell out of me. That city was built. It is the most centrally planned city I've ever seen in my life. To where, like, especially if you see it like overhead, you'll see the way they design like the neighborhoods. They like make like palm. They make like palm trees out of like. It is nuts. But then every other thing about the city, it's set up to be the ultimate surveillance state. So, I mean, you cannot do a thing there without being surveilled. It is being doubled down on. So, I mean, pretty soon, if you want to see our dystopian future, as those places, both Doha and Dubai, as they start getting bigger and more advanced, that's what our reality is going to look like.
Too nice though for our dystopian future. I feel like there's like high-end hotels and restaurants. I mean, it is a nice like city. It's just kind of creepy, right? Like it's
very creepy. It's nice because it's brand new. Like everything is brand new.
Well, it's like Sim City, right? Like you're starting with like a big desert, and you can just put stuff wherever you want. Like there's no like normal character to it because they just had a plot of land. And as you point out, like the stories, I think there's a Modern Marvels on the palm tree islands that they built. They just built man-made islands in the shape of a giant palm tree and then just made housing developments out of it. It's like incredible. I mean, it's incredible engineering, but very creepy, I think.
Yeah. So the first time I flew into New York City, it would have been early July of 2009. And I flew in and it just looked fake. As someone who's never been to New York City, it just looked fake. It looked like a Lego city just built, the buildings, everything just looked fake to me. But the reason I tell that story is just because we're talking about cities, and also because the reason I was flying in was for a job interview. So if everyone hates me, it's this guy's fault. Stu Burguiere, thank you for hiring me back in August of 2009. I started with the Blaze, and it was the worst mistake you've made in your life, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, everyone's made clerical errors. I mean, it's not. I don't need to bring that up again. We all make mistakes.
All make mistakes. Oh my gosh, man, that was man, your office. Hold on a second. What is your office like now? Okay, it's similar. Describe your office. Do you ever go up there? Because we don't really cross paths during the afternoon much because I'm long gone. And you still have a big couch, right? Like your office. Describe it. It is the most comfortable place probably in the building.
Basically like when I'm going up there, I'm not necessarily doing like at least as infrequently as I can, I'm doing like expense reports. Like I'm gonna go up there and I want to do writing. Like it's always been like a writing office, so I wanted to be comfortable. So I kind of started it with it's a deskless office. There's no desk up there. I like have couches and like kind of a central
like a coffee table in the middle.
Yeah, right? I guess it's a coffee table.
Couches all around. I haven't been in there in years.
Yeah, and there's just couches around, and we got some whiteboards and stuff. But like generally speaking, I want it to be a comfortable place where you can kind of sit back and do some writing and stuff. And that's what I use it for. Of course, that's another thing that we were told that we were going to redo over the past couple of years, and that one hasn't happened yet either. But it is it's a comfortable place to kind of chill. I will say I can't remember when we got all the furniture for it. It's very old. I've been sitting in it for a long time, and it's at that point now where it's not quite as comfortable as it once was. So I'm not up there as often. Sometimes I try to skedaddle out of here and just go home and do my writing. But when I go up there, it's a good concept for an office because you don't. I mean, what are we doing here, right? Like we're doing supposedly entertaining, informative, content. Like it should be a place to kind of be comfortable and get in your element rather than, like a bunch of drones.
The reason I thought about your office there here in Texas is because when I was telling that story, that had tangent after tangent, unraveling there, flying into New York, getting interviewed, blah, blah, blah. I remember when I had the interview, like your office in New York was very similar to the way it is now. It was just one giant couch.
Yeah.
And so I just think that's pretty awesome. And I think that the audience appreciates some of that behind the scenes stuff because it is a very unique setup that you have there. And just for the record, Stu was my supervisor, 2009 till 2017 when I was associated with the radio show. And then when they started Pat Unleashed, then in fact, I think I wept the day they said that I no longer report to Stu. In fact,
You escaped.
I've asked multiple times since then. Can you please change it back? Let's see here. No, not that I want to not work with Pat. That I can report to Stu, even though it makes no sense if I were to. And this is a good question over here in the column here, and I don't see it now. Yeah, here we go. Were any of these guys doing radio before they started at the Blaze? I think the most unique path of the three of us is going to be Jason. I'll just say that I've been primarily a producer in talk radio. I've made the rounds from, when I got out of college, went to Atlanta, GST, and then from there to Houston's where I first started working with Pat at KPRC, and then Omaha at KCAR, and then to Charleston for WSC. So if any of you are listening to these stations, that's where I've been. And then, of course, from Charleston to Glenn's team here. Stu, I know you have an extensive background in radio, too. Why don't you share that with us?
Yeah. Gosh, it's been forever. And I really started with Glenn working in the same building in like 1997, 98 in that general vicinity. So it's been a long time. And I worked with him in Connecticut, which was like Glenn and Pat in the morning was the like big morning show that like teenagers listened to when I was in high school. Like it was Glenn and Pat in the morning on KC 101 in New Haven.
What a difference.
And so after high school, I eventually got to, I wound up just like I worked in the promotions department at that station, and wound up talking to Glenn about, hey, like I really was already to the point where I wanted to do talk radio. I'd listened to a bunch of Rush and some other big shows, down in Miami. I lived in Miami area for a while, listened to WIOD, Neil Rogers, Phil Hendry. It was a great station. And so I wound up wanting to do that. And Glenn was kind of just at the end of his stretch of like, I don't want to play Britney Spears anymore. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to hang myself. So so it was kind of a good thing. I wound up, of course, interning for Glenn and working with him. And, he wound up at one point leaving, and we wound up joining up like a year or two later. And honestly, but my career is very strange in that I basically have worked with Glenn the entire time in some capacity. Even when we were working separately, like I would pop on his show, he'd pop on our show sometimes. Like we'd write stuff together just offline that he would use on his show. And so it's been, something like 25 years now.
Wow.
We've been working together in some capacity.
That is awesome.
Moving all over the place from stations to TV to internet to everything. So it's been a fun ride. I mean, I haven't shot at a lot of terrorists in my line of work. I haven't done any of that. Wow. I didn't cause any international incidents where let's say, fired munitions at ISIS. Like I don't have anything like that in my past. Like some other people on this particular
master of the segue, Stu Burguiere, ladies and gentlemen. Jason, how did you get on board with this team? That you can tell us.
A wing and a prayer. So I was after the Marines. I there's not a whole lot of jobs that were available at that point. So I just did executive protection work for celebrities and stuff out in California, Los Angeles. And the client that I had right before Glenn was he's probably one of the most famous radio and TV people in the world, I guess. And so I was with him for a while, and I was accustomed to radio. But then when Glenn moved from New York to Texas, my name came up on the list of potentials because I had already been in that lifestyle, which it's not an easy lifestyle. If you're on a morning show, you're getting up insanely early. The prep work for a radio show starts long before the actual radio show starts. It's just not easy. And Keith knows better than any of it because he gets up, I think, probably 2 a.m. or something like that to get to Pat.
Well, I wake up at 2, but the alarm's set for 3.
Crazy.
I never make it to the alarm, man. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
So I went on to Glenn's protective team, and then eventually just I would write like global intelligence stuff for Glenn or stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And then eventually he was like, you should just come work for me doing this full time. But cool. What was the crazy is the job I slip into now, which is the head writer, chief researcher, was basically it was my friend's job and Stu's friend's job before that. And I had the incredible just luck to be able to learn under him. And so he just showed me everything he did. And I mean, that skill that he kind of passed on to me is probably like, I don't think too many people even do that anymore. Like, do people do like the long form monologue stuff for, personalities? I can't think of any of them. Like what person on TV now on cable news will talk for an hour, just on whatever theories he has? No one, right?
No one before Glenn did that either. It's insane.
Yes, it's insane. I can't. That's what. Like now we do that. Like once a week, right? So like we do it for Wednesday, and we also do some stuff like research or writing a little bit for radio. But I mean, you were doing that before at Fox every single day, and was it over an hour show or just an hour show?
Fox was an hour. CNN Headline News before that was an hour. When we first got onto GBTV, which was the original name of the Blaze, that started with 2 hours. I don't know. Again, we were all like, what? You want to do what? You want to do 2 hours? We're like, that sounds so stupid. You're not going to want to do that after a month. And then eventually that changed. I think it went to an hour and a half for a while. Then it was an hour. I mean, it's changed so many times, but it's a lot. It was a lot of content. I mean, it was, and you have in those, I mean, Glenn's staff is pretty, decent sized here, but like, when you go back to Fox and CNN, like compared to other staffs, it was a pretty small one. I mean, it wasn't, it was a pretty small staff that was helping them with all that, but it was all driven by Glenn. So it was a lot of it. You're just kind of filling in the details and helping him form it in order. And his brain is very ADD. So trying to make it coherent so an audience can actually understand it is sometimes a battle, as Jason would tell you. But it's always been fun. It's always been it's better than actually a real job.
Amen. Right.
It's just amazing. And looking back on that, there's so many people. Like, I believe in, divine providence, and I believe that God places you in certain, wherever he wants you, and he sends the people to help you out. And there's no way I'd be where I'm at now if not for some of those people in my life. Like, the guy that I said that I don't want to out him on the show, but the guy that like taught me this job, no way would I be here without him.
Sorry, you can say Jeffrey Epstein. That's okay.
I didn't want to say that. I'm glad you said that.
But it's amazing if you look back on your life and just identify some of those moments and people in your life. It's such a mind boggle.
Oh yeah,
that is a fact.
A relatively interesting one, at least maybe to this audience, was the first time I ever met Pat Gray, which was I'm producing for Glenn, and I'm like super early in this, like it's the first year, and like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I'm making it. I had no idea what I was doing for the job. And I was trying to, I was learning it as I didn't go to school for it. Like I was like, I really liked radio and I really wanted to do radio. So I just tried really hard and tried to do a little bit of everything. And it was a time, if I remember right, like where, Glenn had like taken a liking to me and was helping me and kind of giving me a little bit of a heads up of the industry and teaching me all this stuff, which was incredibly valuable. But like, I wasn't like locked into this role yet. It was still sort of one of those things where, like, I don't know, is he going to be a good producer? Is he worth keeping around? There was lots of other people, of course, vying for this role, Glenn was with a big host at the time, at the station. And Pat came in, flew in. I'd never met him. I'd heard the show a million times when I was a kid, but he had left at this point. He wasn't with Glenn anymore. And Pat flew in for, I want to say it was like their 10,000th episode. They did like a Glenn Beck 10,000th episode special. And, they had a bunch of people there. Like they brought in a bunch of people Glenn used to do the show with, and one of them was Pat. And of course, Glenn and Pat were still like best friends. They kept in touch, but they weren't working together anymore. And it was a big deal. Like there was a live audience and it was like a million moving parts. And I just remember just like being borderline suicidal. It was so of course, Glenn, like, I need 10,000 things I didn't tell you about yesterday. Let's get all those things in 5 minutes. And it was just like that. It was one of those days. And I was just killing myself trying to do it. I don't even know I would do a good job. But Pat went to Glenn after and like, said, hey, who is that guy? He did it. He did a really good job. Or he complimented me in some way. And of course, knowing their relationship, like that was huge. Like it was like a big endorsement, like an outside endorsement coming from someone who actually knows what they were doing. And it was like legitimately helpful. I mean, I think, Glenn liked me at the time, but it definitely helped lock me into a position that, I'm still in today, basically. That many years later.
Awesome.
I mean, that was a big part of that. So you have those moments, and if you could take advantage of them and you get lucky enough to have them, it could be a big difference.
And that's what I try to tell that to people that ask me, how did you get to the job that you have now? It's who you know. That's what they say. It's who you know. It's who you know. And I tell them, yes, it is who you know. Because if I had made a bad impression, or if I had burned bridges, or if I had sucked along the way, then it would have been the same. It's who you know, but it would have the opposite effect than if you're a good employee or a good person. And so, yes, don't ruin your chances down the line by being an ass now. And be a good employee, and it will get recognized. And I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stu, just as an observation from my point of view, Jason Buttrill has to be your favorite employee in the building. Because I feel like before Jason came along to research and cross-check and check into all the facts and everything, like you were kind of on an island. You were like the last stand on the air and as the executive producer of keeping Glenn from talking about something that maybe we didn't have all the facts yet. And now you have that filter named Jason Buttrill who can go in there and make sure. So I'm going to guess
it ain't just me.
Big fan of
it's
Jason.
A village. Trust me.
Yeah. Sure.
It takes a lot. Well, I will never say that a Cowboys fan is my favorite anything, but no, it is great. I mean, because I really like doing that with Glenn, and we've obviously moved on to sort of different things. Like, Jason does a lot of different stuff too. I mean, we're all in like kind of in a different. This job gets to change a lot, which is kind of one of the things I do like about it. But yeah, I mean, like, it's still fun to do that stuff sometimes, to dive in and like you want to go into a deep topic you really care about. I get to do that, for my show. I know Jason does a lot of that stuff as well. He's always on the dark web. I don't know if that's work related or not, but that's a wholly different story.
It started out work related. Then
it started out work related. Now he just really likes it.
Turned into pleasure.
He's got a thriving business. But same thing with you, Keith. Obviously, what you're doing here, what you do with Pat, like it's cool to be able to jump into different elements of it. Some of it's stuff you're doing for yourself. Some of it's, a lot of the stuff that I do with Glenn is still off the air. We go to break. I help him talk through points. I'm slipping him notes about the facts he's getting wrong in real time. All that stuff still exists. So it's been a good partnership for a really long time. And it's a good place to work. We do actually have fun here, despite the fact that the world is burning down around us.
What's crazy is about, like to have an interesting show, whether it's radio or TV, you have to be willing to talk about like some crazy things, maybe things that most people aren't even looking at, but you want to do a deep dive into it. The problem is, and you see a lot of prominent people that are no longer prominent because they weren't as critical as they should have been on certain things. I can think of multiple names that I won't say now, but now they just look crazy. And what happened? You were so credible. Like, what happened? And that's a very dangerous thing when you're still trying to find those interesting stories or taking those interesting angles. I probably throw 8 things away a week, maybe even more, of like that we'll get from not just from Glenn, but from other employees. Like, hey, have you looked in this? Is this real? Most of the time it's not real. But if it does make it to air, it's usually something that, multiple people have looked through.
And I will say, you have to accept, if you're in this business, anybody listening that's in radio, want to move up in the world and, get your dream job, you've got to accept that you are going to put a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of blood, sweat, and well, maybe not blood, but you're going to put a lot of effort into stuff, especially like you're talking about, Jason, like research that will never get used. You've got to accept that. You've got to understand going in that what percentage would you say of your efforts, Jason, actually make it on the air? In other words, you get to a point where you're like, okay, you just said 8 things this week, right? You throw away 8 things this week. Like, what percentage of your time would you say gets to a point where it never goes to air because you want to stay credible and keep your host credible?
Oh my good gosh, man. Well, research, an insane amount of research, but that's, a ton of stuff does not go to air because it's just, we find out that it's not real, or we just don't want to risk it because we're not entirely sure. So if you're not sure, just don't do it. But, I wish I could show you my Google Drive right now that has monologues just for Glenn to do. It's separated in radio and TV. I could publish multiple volumes of books. This is not an exaggeration. Like there's multiple books that I could put in and just title it Unused Monologues for Glenn Beck. And it's all brand new content that's never been used. And it's just what happens, especially in radio. You don't know when you're doing radio, and you've got the full show planned out. You've got written monologues that Glenn can read through or riff around, whatever. And then the former president of the United States gets indicted, and your entire show becomes that day.
Right.
Well, all of that crap is now no longer usable because it's going to be old news usually, unless it's evergreen, and then that just doesn't get used. I mean, it's oh my god,
and honestly. And I think you guys would agree, if you're going to take that personally, that your stuff doesn't get used after all the time you burned a whole weekend and it doesn't get used on Monday because whatever reason, then you're in the wrong business, because that's just the way it is, man.
Or if it just sucks and it doesn't get used.
If it just sucked, maybe your monologue sucked. Maybe that's why they didn't use it.
My first TV show that I wrote for Glenn, I was OJTing under the guy that actually had the job at the time, and I wrote the show out. We were going to do it, and Glenn started reading it, and he was like, I wouldn't say this. This is what even this sounds like. Like this just does not sound like me. So he tossed the entire show that day, just tossed it, and they did a replay, and it was all my fault. And I wanted to punch Glenn right in the face at that point. I was so raging mad. I'd spent tons of time I had to go outside and walk around the studio building probably like 10 times with my friend trying to say, hey, it's happened to all of us. Don't worry about it. Happened to me once. Don't worry about it. Woo! I mean, but that could still happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. You got to keep going. Keep trying.
At some point, you just realize like your job is actually not to do something that airs. Like this is a really hard concept for me to come up with, and where I really understood it. And again, I don't know what value this conversation is, other than if you happen to be applying for a job for Glenn Beck. I don't know if anyone. But I remember this lesson really hit me when I was writing Glenn's speeches. He came to me at one point. He's like, I'm doing all these speaking gigs. He's like, I need you to like really do this and research these things so I can have the best speeches. And so, not only is it like a really important way to communicate to usually like high level important people, but also it's like, it's a pretty good gig. Like those things pay well. You see all these like, politicians get out of office and they all do these speaking tours and they make, good money. It was like a good business. And he's like, I'd really just like you to like, be in charge of this and write these. And I'm like, well, I mean, we got a lot going on, but okay, I'll do it. And I would just sit there and write these speeches. And I think they'd be really good. I'd be really happy with them. I could, you spend a lot of time picturing Glenn saying them, right? Like he's on stage. This is when he's going to pause. This is how it's going to feel. Like you're really working hard. Mm-hmm. And then we would be on the plane on the way to these cities, and they'd be like, okay, we're going to start our descent. And he'd be like, I actually just want to do this. And then he'd just like sketch 4 lines on a piece of paper and go out and talk for 95 minutes. Yes. And you're like, why? I completely wasted my time. Yeah. And after a long, long time of frustration and really hating that, I came to the conclusion that actually my job was to write a thing that made him feel comfortable enough to find the thing he really wanted to say. Like if he went in there with nothing, he'd be like, oh God, what am I going to do? But when he had the speech, he would like wind up taking bits and pieces of it and kind of in his mind making some other thing, some weird tapestry that he would be able to go on stage and weave for everyone. And it would wind up working out really well. And he couldn't really just do it on its own. You needed to have that first step. And I was like, well, you know what? At the end of the day, if it's a good speech and he uses a bit of it or he doesn't, maybe I can reuse it for something else. But if you got like territorial over it, you would drive yourself insane. Like my job was basically to write a thing sometimes that he just didn't use. And if I could get my head to that position, it was fine. But at first it was infuriating.
That's so crazy to hear you describe it that way. Because when I train new writers today, they're going to be writing for Glenn or trying to write in his voice. I always say your job is more you're writing to inspire. So I was like, if you do all this stuff, don't get discouraged if he throws it out. But if he reads your stuff and then that inspires him to go off on a famous Glenn riff or monologue just all on his own, you did your job. Yeah. Right. And if he suddenly forgets to, and runs out of material, he can jump right back into the, into the script, which is he's so talented. I don't know if anyone operates that well. I mean, even if you're trying to be like a script, imagine being a speechwriter for Donald Trump. I would be horrified and probably equally, frustrated because he goes off on his own all the time. He doesn't stick to whatever's put out in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he is actually really similar to Donald Trump, except no porn star would be interested in him.
That's fair.
It's definitely a huge difference.
Yeah, and of course, the clips of Trump that you hear actually make it into the news cycle aren't the ones that the speechwriter wrote. It's when he stops and just ad-libs.
Right.
Okay, so before I was a Glenn Beck employee, I was a Glenn Beck fan. And one of the things that I absolutely loved, and let me back up. Based on the way my daily routine goes with Pat, and the show ends, and then we do overtime, and then I'm in there meeting with staff and going over stuff, I do not get to hear a lot of Glenn Beck radio these days, which means I could be way off base when I say this, but I feel like, and I may be wrong, Stu, but way back when I was just a listener, I really enjoyed when Wilfred would call from Sun City, Florida. I'm a big fan of Wilfred.
Yes.
And the irony of me seeing this story, when I try to come up with lighthearted stuff for the Friday live stream, I file it away, I tuck it aside. And so when I saw this, I thought, oh, this might be a fun conversation. The headline is, I don't know, this is from Samsung News. Sorry, I'm Android. Whatever the source is, I don't know. It says Samsung News. 10 of America's most affordable retirement spots where the weather is good and healthcare is top notch. And I thought, oh, save that one. And then when I went back to it, knowing that this, filing away for this specific live stream, I was like, okay, let me look at this story that I bookmarked here. Oh my gosh, what? Number 1 is Sun City, Florida, on the week that I have Stu as a guest. Oh, Wilfred, are you there?
Yes.
How did that start, man? How did let me go through this list, just FYI. I don't know if anybody wants to retire in Whiting, New Jersey, or Laguna Woods, California. How funny is this? I didn't even notice this till right now. Sun City, California, Seal Beach, California, Monroe, New Jersey, Manchester, New Jersey. Again, who wants to retire in New Jersey? The Villages, Florida. Number 3 is King City, Oregon. Green Valley, Arizona. And then number 1, Sun City, Florida. How did the whole Wilfred and Sun City, Florida bit begin, man?
So Wilfred's an elderly caller. He calls in from Sun City, Florida from time to time. He's a little out of it. He's not always understanding what's going on in the world.
Oh my gosh. Wilfred is more coherent and more with it than the actual president of the United States.
100% true. It's 100% true. Actually, we have this over here. I'm in the studio now. We have this phone here, which is has the old school cord to it, and it's been wired into the soundboard. So it sits over here, and occasionally I could do these sort of fake phone calls where I'll just call in and usually mock Glenn for something or whatever. And it kind of sounds like I'm on the phone. And so we would do those bits from time to time where I would just call in with a stupid voice and we have dumb characters. And at one point I was like, I want to do some an old guy, we're doing the show in Tampa, 970 WFLA, the mothership. And we were sitting there doing the show, and I had just moved there. I hadn't been there that long when we first started doing Wilfred. And I asked, and it may have been Jeffy actually who I asked, because he was with us at the time, unfortunately. And I may have asked Jeffy, where would what's the retirement area? Where would an really super old person call in from? And he just said, I don't know, Sun City. So I was like, my name is Wilfred, and I'm calling from Sun City, Florida. I'm loving this Joseph Robinette Biden character. He's a little old for my taste, but I will say when I see him maneuver across the stage that it takes him so long. And the other day when he started pooping on stage, he really connected with me as stupid crap like that. And we would just have him call in. I think he was always calling in about the election. The last cycle we did, and I think it was 2020, we did this where he was calling it as Joe Biden's campaign manager. He just is really tied in, and it's just filled with just ridiculous old references and stuff. We should actually bring that one back now that Biden's somehow.
So has it been a while since Wilfred's been on the radio show? Because, like I said, I don't get to listen much, but I have a bit idea. I just jotted this down because I didn't want to forget. And so if you choose to do this is just me spitballing, throwing out ideas. And if you hear something that you can glom onto and maybe, flesh it out here, this is all yours. But what if Wilfred, what if he had a falling out? Sorry, I'm making myself laugh from what I hear in my head already. What if he had a falling out with Joe Biden the last 4 years for some reason, because Joe's a whippersnapper and there's something Joe did that upset Wilfred, and now he's no longer a part of Team Joe Biden. He's no longer the campaign manager, and now he's challenging Joe to a debate. Anyway, if there's anything there, it's yours. Take it, run with it. But I think Wilfred challenging Joe Biden on the air would be kind of fun.
I will say this is, I like that. First of all, there's definitely something there. And I think it's interesting that this we've come to the point, this is like Wilfred's prime time political year, right? Like we got an 81-year-old going up against a 77-year-old going up against a 68, 69-year-old in RFK. Like RFK is like the young guy on the scene. He's like 70 years old. He's like, wow, these guys are really old over here.
There's something there where there's a line where Wilfred says, seeing these three whippersnappers duke it out.
I mean, it's true. He doesn't like the youngsters. He never likes the youngsters or the whippersnappers. So,
oh my God,
I like it, Keith. I think we got to bring that.
There's something there. We got to hear Wilfred, and if you do, Wilfred, either please let me know so I can make sure to check it out, or maybe the audience will tag me on Twitter, send me a DM, say Stu did the Wilfred thing finally. Okay, I got one more story, and then I'll let you guys go and enjoy your weekend. I really appreciate you making time and sharing stories. But so speaking of Florida, actually, as you know, a lot of people, especially since the lockdowns, have moved from places like New York to Florida. Obviously, Florida's always been a destination for retirees from the Northeast. But in the last few years, some of the super wealthy have moved to Florida and said, okay, I got to get out of this blue state insanity, the tyranny up here. And so what has happened is, I'll just read you this story from, I don't know, I didn't print up the source here. I don't know. But this is very interesting. Maybe it's CNBC. I don't know. Palm Beach, Florida housekeepers. Gentlemen, what do you think the, I guess, is this the typical? Okay. So there's let's see here. Name this. Okay. What do you think the typical housekeeper in a place like Palm Beach, Florida makes? Any guesses?
You mean like hourly or yearly?
Salary wise. Yeah. So, okay. So it says, so the first sentence of this story is Palm Beach housekeepers are making this amount a year due to massive demand from the wealthy.
Well, it's got to be high.
Yeah.
It's got to be high. Obviously, I've given that away because I'm a man.
I would, my guess would be like 50 grand.
50 grand. Okay. Stu, do you have a guess on the...
I gotta say, I think we're in six-figure land here. That's a really expensive area. I mean, that is like the type of place that.
Good to know. Okay,
that makes typical sense. Person is not getting a house. This is basically Donald Trump's neighborhood. So
okay. So now Jason and I, maybe I wasn't aware. Maybe Jason wasn't aware, because since you've lived in Florida and you know this, Palm Beach is like the high end. So the wealthy are going to move to Florida and going to live in Palm Beach. It's kind of like what Beverly Hills of Florida. Then is that what you're saying?
Yeah, totally.
So the salary can be driven though, right? Like skill level wise. You higher skill, you're going to get paid more, or workload. I think, but when I think of that area, I don't think of you need to be very, very skilled to do this job, or you're going to be working a ton, even if it's a big house. Like, I think that they pretty much keep those houses pretty clean, right? It's not like they're having ragers every night and poor girl has to come in and clean up after them.
That's true, though. I mean, I think you're in full time. It's not even one person, too. I mean, I think that's a team of people. You're talking about massive houses, and again, people who have very high standards. Okay. So I'll go 115. 115.
115, and you're part of a team, he says, and you're still making the 115. Jason, did you want to change your answer now that we know more about the demographics and the lay of the land there in Palm Beach?
No, I mean, it's obviously going to be higher, but I can't imagine it being higher than that. So I'll let it blow my mind.
Palm Beach.
And then I'll change my occupation probably.
Housekeepers. That's exactly what I said when I printed this up. I think Jeffy was sitting there. I was like, bro, we're in the wrong business. Palm Beach housekeepers are making $150,000 a year due to massive demand from the wealthy, per CNBC. Housekeepers in Palm Beach and South Florida are seeing their salaries soar, often exceeding $150K, with bidding wars between mansion owners becoming common, according to staffing companies. The influx of wealth to Florida from high-tax states like New York has created a record demand for household staff in elite Florida communities, especially Palm Beach. There is a rising need for butlers. What? Oh, that's still a thing? There are still butlers? Guess what they're called now? They're called hospitality managers or estate managers. That's what the story says. Nannies, chefs, drivers, and personal security, as reported by staffing agencies. Quote, this is someone who places housekeepers with different mansions. Quote, I have been placing staff for 30 years, and I've never seen anything like this. We've seen such a boom from people relocating, especially Palm Beach and Miami. Listen to this. Last thing I'll say here, and then I'll let you guys jump in. In Palm Beach, experienced housekeepers in wealthy homes typically earn between $120 and $150 a year, along with 401k plans, healthcare, and benefits, including overtime. Quote, for housekeepers, it's wonderful, this lady said. For us, it's extremely difficult. It's a severe shortage. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Move to Florida, learn how to Windex a mirror, and you're set for life. My gosh.
You know what? So I think it's interesting. Like, that's something that it's kind of similar to something that I've been trying to do or trying to learn over the past like couple years or so, but learn to do something that other people are unwilling to do. They just either don't want to or unwilling to learn how to do. And you can make bank. Like, there was a South Park episode where all of the like handyman ended up becoming like superstar, like ultra rich and like very famous because nobody else knew how to fix common things. They couldn't fix a cabinet, or they couldn't change the brakes in a car or whatever. So pretty soon there was this huge bidding war, like with these housekeepers, to get the handyman. And so they just ended up jacking up their prices and getting tons and tons of money. There's so many people today that have like just don't have basic skills, like in cars or appliances or Stu raising his head. I mean, learn to do those. So like now I've completely rebuilt my pool pump and done all my pool equipment, done that all myself because it was too expensive to get someone. I can do all the auto work on my car. And now all my neighbors ask me to do that for them. I'm like, sure. Give me.
Oh my gosh! Hold on.
I'll rebuild your pool.
I'm being completely serious, and I will pay you good money. There's a spigot on the side of my house that hasn't worked for a year and a half now. Can you come fix it? Do you know how to fix that? I'll pay you. I won't
talk
pay
to
you
my agent, and we'll try to get something worked out.
I'm serious. Like,
just go on the Jason Buttrill app.
I have fixed this thing, and neighbors have fixed this thing half a dozen times, and now not even like it. See, this is the thing, kids. This is the thing. When you have no skills like me, and your spigot is just a little bit of dripping up. This, I swear, guys, this is the fact. It all started with just a little annoying stuff coming out of the top, right? It still worked fine. It shot out. I got like 99% of the water was fine. And a little bit was it. That wasn't good enough for me. And that has turned into not a drop comes out of it. Now, help me, please. Someone help me. Okay, real quick before we go. We'll talk. We will talk. We got to talk, please.
These are skills like the last generation just knew how to do. Like they all did that. Like it's getting less and less and less common the further we go out. Our kids are going to be like,
yeah, YouTube is our grandfather now.
Yeah,
like YouTube is seriously.
Yeah.
One last story.
I will.
I don't exactly.
Yeah,
you go to YouTube.
When I really have to, you go on YouTube, you search for it, and like, oh, okay, that's how I had a door that was like swinging open every time. Like you'd stop it, and it would just every single time. It was driving me crazy. And like I went on YouTube, you found out you take the hinge out, you like bend it a little bit, put it back in, and it works fine. Like
how cool
you know what
is
you're
that?
doing. It takes 10 seconds.
So hang on a second. YouTube is the grandfather for our generation. And then we take all that information, download it into our kids, and they think we're smart, and they have no idea that we've shortcut by using YouTube.
Wait till you see what they do with AI to us.
Oh, stop it. Last story. I just want to throw this out there. This is actually, I find this enraging. If you're familiar, and this is not a sports story, y'all. Ex-Las Vegas Raider wide receiver Henry Ruggs. If you don't recall, he was driving under the influence, and he ran into that girl. Remember that? And she had her dog with her, and they burned alive in a car. Just a terrible, terrible thing that happened. He went to prison. He's going to be serving just a couple more years, I think, if he gets out on good behavior. But he's been assigned to the governor's mansion in Nevada. What? I don't like it. I don't know. I don't really have a commentary other than I don't like it.
It's a little suspicious, right? Like, why does he get that gig, right? Like, it seems like maybe, someone made sure that he got a gig in a situation like that. That's pretty bad, because what he, that was a terrible, terrible mistake. I'm sure he's very remorseful, but like, it was really, really bad. That was one of the worst stories I've ever read, because you got into some of the details there. It's horrible.
It is. Oh yeah, she burned alive.
Was he charged with manslaughter?
Yeah, he went to prison for multiple years because of I think it was manslaughter. I don't think it was murder.
But Stu, I saw in this story something that said that he could be out. He could be out August of 2026. How old is he? He could conceivably, if he's keeping himself healthy, in shape, he could still play. Okay. I just don't like that.
He could go to the Eagles. They take felons all the time right after they get out of jail.
Our team are relatively well behaved. I don't know if you've ever watched the Dallas Cowboys. Knives are left out of the field after the games.
I've just seen a lot of felons go to the Eagles. I don't know.
I mean,
I'm not even going to talk
about that one.
I'm not even going to talk about.
Me and Keith have that one in common.
Yeah, I was going to say
Michael Vick experience.
Michael Vick with dog killing. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for making time here. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to follow these guys at Jason Buttrill on Twitter, at Stu Does America on Twitter. He's also got the YouTube channel, Stu Does America. He does a show every night on our employer, the Blaze TV. You could sign up at blazetv.com, get a subscription there, huh? Look at me pimping my employer through this. And then, Jason, you can hear the words that the man writes in monologues as well if you go over to Blaze TV. Guys, thank you so much for making time. I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll have to do this again sometime. And we're going to mix in more Notary Public talk for Stu.
Thank you.
Finally. So see you all later. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks.